man? What is up, Cowboys Nation? Boy, Mike Tag here with my man G-Reg. Jeff is having some technical difficulties, so we're gonna roll with two until he gets everything done. But as you guys are rolling in, man, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Definitely appreciate all the love to the Cowboys Cave. We are closer and closer to 6,000 subscribers, so wouldn't be possible without you guys. We love talking Cowboys football. If you're new to the channel, because we got so many new subscribers, man, this is a channel for Cowboys Nation. It's a spot for us to hang, chill, talk football, and I think I got Jeff back. There he is. There he is. Had some technical issues, but we're just getting started. So we'll get this thing rolling, but glad to see you back, Jeff, Greg. We had a week off. I was out of town, so we gave everyone a week off. And like I said, this is the dog days of football season. I know the draft and all that, but this is where us, doing these shows, man, we earn our money because we're trying to find something to talk about to pique you guys' interest. But when it comes to the Cowboys, there's always interest. So how are you doing this morning? First, Greg, since you were on time, we'll start with you.
I'm doing good, man. The spring is here. I just want this pollen to finally go away so I can get my little project out the way once the pollen's gone, and then the rest of the summer and the spring is mine.
Yes, absolutely. I cleaned my pool out yesterday, vacuumed it up, checking out the chemicals, getting everything right for the summer, turn the heater on to slowly try and get it up to temperature. So it is about that time here. I don't know all you guys in the other parts of the country, but it is today is the start. It's like 82 degrees. The temperatures get back up, so it's good. So Jeff, how you doing, man? You had some technical issues, but you got it worked out, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm good. Just it's nice, warm, sunny Florida. Can't complain about that.
Yes,
that's right.
Absolutely.
All three of us from Florida.
Yes,
that's it.
And we are, just so you know, we're a couple of us are rooting for Miami today. Their tip off is about 12. They got their work cut out for it. It was a great game, Friday night, late game, and really, always trying to do Miami dirty, make them play it. 10 o'clock.
Oh, here we go.
They can play Mizzou in St. Louis, basically a home game for them, but Miami, we overcome all the odds and we make it happen. So I'm getting the morning started right. I got my Bloody Mary going. I bought some stuff in Charleston, some Charleston Bloody Mary mix, spicy Bloody Mary mix. So I got my morning drink going. Hopefully you guys do as well. So this is a participation show. We need you guys in the chat to kind of give us your opinion, because there's a lot going on with the Cowboys, and it still revolves around defense. It revolves around free agency. It revolves around the draft. Did we do enough? Do we need to add some more pieces? And really, kind of to me, what is the magnifying glass and all of that is on the linebackers. And we're not really deep at linebacker. We didn't really address that in free agency. I think they attempted on some, whiffed on all the ones that at least the experts said they had their eye on. So now it's like there's trade rumors, and we could go trade, or we could go draft. And a couple of the guys, Jordan from Miami and the Houston Texans linebacker, I'll butcher his name, so I'll let someone else start it, and that way I can copy it. They're in trade rumors, and I guess my question would be is, are you comfortable in the draft prospects? And we'll go through that. Or we need to get a veteran in here. We need to get a veteran here because we've got to get some stability. We've got to get something in this linebacker room, because that is a glaring spot right now in this defense. Jeff, you want to start and then Greg finish up?
Yeah, unfortunately, because of the combine, in my opinion, we're hurt. We're going to be hurting linebacker wise. I think obviously David Bailey going to be gone. Arvell Reese going to be gone. Sonny Styles is going to be gone. And so those are the three that I was like, we may be able to get. You and I talked about it a little bit earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps at 20 we could get CJ Allen.
Yeah.
Perhaps, but I feel like the Sonny Styles, who I thought before the draft we were 100% going to get, and then I feel like Caleb Downs. But I have have a funny feeling, and it's going to bother me, that we're going to get to pick 20, and we're going to sit there and have CJ Allen, which is going to be a need, or we're going to have Messidor, which also is a need.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we're going to do there. I just have a sneaky suspicion that that's where we're going to end up draft-wise.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we'll have Greg jump in, but I think a lot of times is you hope that you fill enough holes in free agency to where you can draft and not force. And I think, there's been cases where the Cowboys have been forced, kind of their hand to draft, and that's how you end up with Taco Charlton. That's how you end up with Mozzie Smith. That's how you end up when you're kind of forcing those. You'd really like to take best player available on your board and stay disciplined to that. But my concern is just with the linebackers. I don't know. Now, there's some depth at linebacker in the draft, and we're going to go through that. And just a real quick, just in the chat, because my man Bobby, I haven't seen you in a long time, Bobby, at the Cowboys games. Hopefully we run into each other again. But do you think Ruben Bain falls to the Cowboys? That's good. We're going to get into that. I don't think so.
Nah.
But the way the draft, I mean, if you look where Dallas is picking, teams ahead of them, I've saw some people retweet this and talk about it. There's probably 6 teams that are going to go offense. So if you look at the board of the defensive guys, there's going to be someone good there. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Bain, but there's going to be someone there. It's just a matter of, is that the guy that we really, really need? I think it's going to be more of a cornerback there.
You think there's going to be 6 offensive players taken beforehand?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm just going by what people say. I'm no expert, but it's and I can pull it up and run through it. But I think they had the Giants, who we thought was defense. Giants going offensive line, wide receiver as a bigger need for them, because obviously they went defense and their defense isn't bad. But we'll get it in on the draft side. I will get it definitely on the draft side. But Greg, real quick, as far as trade, draft, the trade rumors, and what they're looking at, 2 very good linebackers. Leaders of their team, definitely could upgrade us in a hurry. What do you think about trade versus draft right now with the linebackers?
I would be more apt to think that the Cowboys are looking at trading for a veteran in linebacker, at least one, and then getting in the draft. And if all those is at least about 6 or 7 awesome players, especially on defense, if they're gone by the time we pick 12, it would not shock me at all if somebody asked Cowboys to give them the 12th pick and the Cowboys move down a little to get that and another pick in another round, second or third round, and take a linebacker. Because remember, all the stars' names that we hear that we expect to be off the board, always remember in the first round, those guys are elite. But there's some hungry dogs that may not get picked in that first round to be at the top of the second round or late first round. Hungry dogs that normally outshine some of those folks in the top 10 because they're hungry, because they fell so far and they didn't expect that. So the Cowboys strategy could be real simple, but it could be unique. Get 1 or 2 linebackers in this trade. If you get 2, maybe keep 12 or look at trading 12 and getting two more picks, 1 in the later round. But at least get 1 more veteran linebacker, at least 1 more. That way we got the versatility in the draft. If we give that 12th up and we go lower, we can still get another linebacker out there that's hungry that a lot of people aren't talking about. Because I guarantee you, in the first 50 or 60 players, there are going to be some dogs out there that people didn't even mention their names, and they're going to get on the field and they're going to show out.
Yeah. And it's Jordan Brooks is the name that I think a lot of people are tied to that they'd prefer, and that's the one I'm seeing in the chat a lot. The only thing I would say, and I don't disagree with you, I mean, you can go through the list of linebackers in the 3rd round, 2nd round, 5th round that ended up being productive. It's just, if you're in a win now mode and you don't have time for hope, because that if you're drafting a guy and you're not, and just look at the linebacker room right now, it's not, you got Overshown who's injury plagued, right? So you hope that he's there and you can count on him, but you just don't know. You got Leofow. You really just don't have much in the linebacker room. So you know, there's linebacker. We're going to get into the draft in a second and just talk about some of the linebackers that are there, but you're working on hope. And I just think there's the Achilles heel to this Dallas defense has been everything up the middle. And I think they've done the defensive tackle room good. I think they've done the safeties. I think they've addressed some of the safeties, which I think that was a weakness for the team. But the linebackers is still a glaring hole for me. And hey, you go get CJ Allen, you get Rodriguez. I'm feeling pretty good, but it's still you're kind of forcing your hand, and maybe you get CJ Allen, but then you could have got a cornerback that you desperately need or something like that. So I'm just saying, I wish they would have gotten at least one linebacker. And I know they said they attempted on a couple, but my thing is, man, you're the Dallas Cowboys. You don't lose to the Raiders on a linebacker. I mean, that's just the way it is. If you want them, you go get them. So I just think that aggressive mentality, I thought we would have saw a little bit more aggression out of the Cowboys. We just didn't see it. But Jeff, any other thoughts on the trades options?
Yeah, I mean, I told you guys I thought we'd have Nakobe Dean. I thought that would be the free agent that we had. So from a linebacker perspective, especially if we're going to be running 3-4. This is a position of need and multiple people. And I don't want to fill that out with a bunch of rookies. You need veteran leadership in there somewhere. And so you're going to have to get that from free agency. The problem is the free agency market is kind of, in terms of middle linebackers, is dried up. I mean, Kenneth Murray's out there, Logan Wilson. Well, we've been there, done that. I don't think anybody was impressed.
Said he's had enough, Logan Wilson. He's done.
So we did too. We did too. We feel the same.
Yeah.
So if you look at that free agent market out there, there's not a lot of people there that, you know, are going to inspire us. Hopefully they just find the person who's the right fit for the team.
Yeah. And, you know,
now one other thing. It's not over yet now. It's not over because there's still an opportunity for the Cowboys to be talking to teams right now and say, look, they sitting back and they got a little strategy, but they're not telling people. And they're saying, look, guys, we got a chance to do something that's risky, but it might turn out for us. We need linebackers bad. What if we put that 12th round pick up as a carrot on a stick right now and talk to other teams about a linebacker that they have that we really want, that nobody's talking about, and see what we can get out of that. Because until we get up to the draft, there's probably some risky plans on these teams' tables that they're looking at as a last resort of possibly handing out there like a carrot on a stick and see who might bite it. I wouldn't be surprised if JJ and these guys out there looking at that 12th pick right now.
Well, I'm not trading that 12th pick.
No. Listen. There's always a strategy where you strategize and then you get down to your most risky strategy if a window of opportunity opens forward. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have a strategy, not that they want to initiate it, but if they have a strategy to say that 12th pick is extremely valuable to a whole bunch of people out here. And if we got an opportunity to get a big time linebacker from one of these teams out there now, and we can use that 12th pick and maybe something else, then we might be able to do it. But it'll be risky, but I wouldn't bet it past them before the draft that something like that happens and just blows the roof off of everything.
But to Mike's point, if we took care of what we needed to in free agency, this draft is a lot more straightforward.
Yeah.
And if we're going to be running a hybrid 3-4, we knew linebacker was a position of need.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we did not address it. And so now we're in a position with the draft where there's a bunch of variables going to be going around. A lot of it's going to be dictated by the teams that pick in front of us. It's going to be really hard to jump on the phone and try to make a trade at 12 because we still are not going to know who's going to be there. And I know you're going to talk about it a little bit. Like, I don't think Bain's going to be there. I think he's going to be gone by in the top 10.
Yeah.
So we were in such a better position if you had taken care of at least one more free agent from a linebacker perspective. It's going to be murky now.
Yeah, I like what they did with free agency safety, get a cornerback,
Yep.
Defensive, a true, nose tackle in the 3-4. I like what they did in free agency there. The linebacker was just that one spot. And and hey, I'm not in the room. Maybe they attempted, maybe they did everything they can. I mean, it takes two to tango, right? I mean, a guy's got to want to come here, and it works both ways. But I just think this is going to be a hole, and I just hope they don't force their hand and end up reaching or end up doing something instead of going best player available. Because if you do pass up on on a guy because you're forcing your hand of it could end up, it's bit him in the ass several times and it could bite him in the ass again. So I'm just hopeful, and we'll go through the linebackers in the draft. I'm just hopeful that whoever they get, they hit on them, because I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, Jeff and I, we talked about it on Friday. Their defense, they don't really draft that great on. I mean, their history of drafting defense ain't that great. I mean, Micah Parsons is the one that you can hold your hat to, but
DeMarcus Ware.
Well, I'm going way back. That's
what I'm saying. You got to go way back.
Yeah, I'm just talking in the last 5 years. Let's just say in recent history. I don't want to go, but I don't want to say they did a great job getting that Too Tall Jones and Randy White. You know what I'm saying? We got to start recent history. It's been tough. I mean, they've whiffed on a lot of guys early. Kelvin Joseph early. Some of these guys. So I just think they have got to. Here, but what do you like? Like in Coming to America, you name one guy. Like I'm in the barber shop, we're talking about. You name one guy, and here we go.
There's name one.
I mean, for every one, there's been five. For every one, there's been five. But that's what I'm saying is, I would have felt comfortable with them getting them. But I mean, looking at the draft, there's good linebackers. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, I think you can go down to Trotter. You can go down to
Anthony Hill.
I mean, you don't have to get, if it ain't CJ Allen and Rodriguez or bust. There's some really good linebackers in here. Would you be satisfied with one of these guys being the man in the middle and the green dot, as they say?
Two. Yeah. I need two of them. Go ahead, Greg.
Listen. Let's go back to this 12 thing I'm telling you about. Do not be surprised if there's players, linebackers on other teams right now that are not available right now, that before now in the draft, that Dallas has a plan on the table, risky as it can be, not that it may be executed, that they can use that 12th round pick and blow the top off of everything and get a player out there now that nobody's talking about that's available to trade from another team using that 12th pick, and it's a veteran to bring to the Cowboys. That risky plan is always on the table because things happen before now in training camp before the draft, that there are players on the team that they say, by the way, this linebacker wasn't even available, but Dallas managed to give up the 12th pick and get this linebacker from so-and-so, a veteran, over to the Cowboys. Don't be surprised if something like that is not on the table. Now, as far as the draft, I'm not concerned about us winning on that first pick if we use that 12. There are hungry people in that first 50 or 60 players that can be linebackers. They're hungry that nobody talks about. If you watch the game every year, you look at the ones that are picked in the first top 10 or 15. How many of them do you really hear about during the season that turn out to be top 15? You start hearing about those late round, first round, and early second round picks. Those are the guys who are so hungry, nobody talked about, and they shine. Because we're so high up on that 12th pick, there's no way, if these people are off the table that everybody's talking about, there's no way we're going to lose on a pick. We're going to win on a 12th pick. I don't care who it is. We're going to win on that 12th pick.
I give you a lot of names of 12 picks and higher that don't. I mean,
but these are names.
It's a 50-50 proposition right now. I mean, it is, right? I mean,
These are names that we're all familiar with that are being talked about in the media that everybody's mentioning. They're not mentioning these guys that are underrated, that are top picks when you're up at the 12th. We're going to get a 12th pick. It's going to be a winner. And I don't care if it's one of the guys we're talking about. It's going to be a winner. And I guarantee you with that 20th, when we come around that 20th, if there's another linebacker available, we're going to get them, because there are linebackers other than these three that we're talking about in this top 12 draft that are great. There's probably some linebackers out there better than even Rodriguez out there right now that we can get with that 20th pick, but we don't see them because we're not in the media. All we hear is what the media throws out at us. The one good thing about the NFL, you can always every year talk about the top players that everybody talks about, and nobody until the season starts says, man, that guy right there is off the chain. Look at this guy over here and this guy over here. And he was picked when? He was picked number 28. He was picked 6th and 7th in the second round. This guy was 13 in the second round, and he's above these guys that's playing in the first round. Remember that. If you
But we don't have a second and third round pick right now.
Yeah, you have a third round.
So that's what. Yeah. Right. So, so that's the problem.
But it don't have to worry about the second. The 12th and the 20th. If we use both of those picks, we're going to get winners. I'm telling you.
Right. Morris Claiborne we might think different. I don't know, but I'm just saying there's a lot of guys. I would say this. I get this a lot about Akeem Mesidor. Why does anyone worry that he's 20? I mean, am I missing something? What the hell do we care that he's 25 years old? To me, he's ready. I mean, he's mature. He's ready to go. What is am I missing something with the age thing? Because at the end of the day, these guys, first round, they sign a 5-year deal. So, all right, he signs a 5-year deal. He's going to be 29 when he's done, 30 years old, whatever date his birthday falls. What do we care? Am I missing something, Jeff, on age? And I mean this respectfully to Chris.
No.
I hear this a lot, and I'm just wondering, what does it matter age-wise on a defensive end?
I don't think it was a big deal. I mean, for me, I'm going to look at it as he's more mature physically, and hopefully he's more mature mentally, so that the transition to the pros will be a smoother transition. So that doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. 25, it's not like we're talking about, he's 30-something. No, he's 25 years old. So, and then as a defensive end, in the next, 3, 4, 5 years, he'll probably be entering his prime in terms of his physical prime, but also mentally how to play the game, how to set up moves, how to set up counter moves, things of that nature. So 25 to me, not too old. I'm good with that.
Yeah. No, I just didn't I know it comes up, and you used to hear it a lot with quarterbacks or something, but I think in the day of college football and the NIL, this is going to be more common than it was in the past, because the guys used to jump to the NFL quickly to get paid. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, some of these guys are making more money in college than they would be making in the pros, with less headache and less wear and tear and less all that other stuff that goes with it. So they'd rather just go ahead and, use it as another, red shirt season or whatever you want to call it. But you're getting a guy that is week 1 starter. You know what I mean? He's mature. He's ready to go. And I don't think the Cowboys, they talked about the can't miss. I know Ultra talked about if Overshown wasn't hurt, if Bland wasn't hurt, if this guy was. Hey,
they're all hurt.
It ain't my fault they're drafting injury-riddled players. I mean, they all had history of injuries. I mean, it is what it is. That goes with it. I mean, Jamarcus Russell came out pretty good in college football. Everyone said, hey, he's number 1, but he didn't make it. Now, do the Raiders get a pass for that, or they get laughed at? Ryan Leaf. Some people had Ryan Leaf better than Peyton Manning. Hey, draft and develop. It's on you. And for whatever reason, the Cowboys have struggled. And Bland, he had a 1 year, and he's been hurt ever since. He got his contract. He's been hurt. That's just a reality. I'm not going to call that a home run draft by the Cowboys. Diggs, I would put marginal, because Diggs had a couple of years, and he was a 2nd-round pick. So, all right, maybe it's okay. But, Gregory, was that a home run for the Cowboys? Kelvin Joseph, was that a home run for the Cowboys? And, they do very well drafting offensive linemen. They do very well. I'd give them very well drafted receivers. I mean, they get CD Lamb. You got Des Bryant in the first round, late. They fall into your lap. And I'm not knocking the Cowboys. That's the state of every team. I mean, the first round is a 50-50 proposition. You don't know how these kids psychologically, they've got the skill set. It's the psychological part of it. When they get paid and they get the money, how are they going to respond? How are they going to be, with the star on their helmet, that you get the ultimate scrutiny, the ultimate visibility? There's some guys that can handle it, and there's some guys that can't. So I don't know.
Somebody said Luke Schoonmaker is a future Hall of Famer.
He's being sarcastic.
Okay. I said, what?
and that 50-50 proposition in the first round goes right back to what I said. Every year, I really pay attention to people that fall low, especially from the first to the third round. I really pay attention because I see dogs out there. They come out with a mentality. They come out because they're hungry. They like, okay, you guys thought I fall to the third round. You didn't think I was good enough for the first. I'll show you. And those first round players, they get the money and the excitement doesn't come with them. And
okay, so I got a question, Greg. And it's NIL right now, right?
Yes.
They're already getting paid.
All of them are getting paid.
So how much dog do they have in them then?
Well, there's some that's going to fall. The ones that we're not talking about right now, if they're getting paid, they're going to need to be picked up probably in the second or third round in order to continue these contracts they got, so people can really spend some money on them and know who they are. But just like any year in the NFL, whether they're getting paid or not, that third round, we get players come out of that third round. It's almost like the third round is the money round, because every year you hear people, he was drafted in the third round. He's off the chain. He's doing this. And you look at the first round, and you can't go down to the first 10 and say, oh, these guys shine like they were supposed to. No, they didn't.
Wait, time out. Some of that is situational, right? If you are picking early, it's usually because your team sucked.
Yeah.
So these players may be put in positions where they're not, as leaders, we're supposed to be putting people in positions to be successful.
Yeah.
In the draft, because you're going to one of the worst teams in a lot of cases, you're not being put in a position to be successful. That's why we're always talking about how important the coaching aspect of it is, and actually training employees, studying them up, learning them up, and getting them to where we want them to be. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if I can agree with you 100% there, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, and you can put all the variables in it, but even those players that go to teams that pick first and second and third because they were sorry, the great players shine anyway. They shine on that team anyway, and they become valuable to be traded later, 3-4 years down the line. But it's just, I've seen it. These players that fall, I've seen these guys that nobody talks about that are so hungry. They come out and they shine. And that's why I say 12th and 20th, I don't care who we get off them boards. If we use both picks, we're going to get some winners. And then coming into our organization with our new coaches and with the people that we already got in free agency, it's not like they're coming to a team that was first, second, or third in the pick because they were straight trash. We're not trash. And right now, we're looking decent with the free agency we got, because at least we went out there and got a safety, a cornerback, a linebacker, a defensive lineman. So yes, now let's go ahead and caveat that and get more linebackers or another linebacker, because that's what we need in the veteran atmosphere, is another linebacker in that veteran atmosphere. Then we go to the draft and we can sit back and say, okay, if we don't get Sonny Styles, Caleb's, or Arvell Reese, or those guys, so what? Look what we have right here to work with these dogs that we can get coming out.
No argument with you. I think the biggest thing that we're all concerned about, especially if we're going to be running a hybrid 3-4, we don't want a rookie as the green dot.
No, we don't. And right now, Dallas really couldn't go out there and get a big showstopper in linebacker right now based on the money they spent on the players.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, Mike, what you said to me Friday, that's growing on me, honestly.
What did I say Friday? Refresh.
Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah. But Bobby Wagner,
he's near the end, but at least he can bring some stability and he could bring just some leadership. I think
how much teaching can he give to the other linebackers?
Yeah,
Like
you probably
positional
can get 'em.
awareness. This is what you do when you see this. Don't even worry about that. Just go. Like that is what you get from him. So that's been growing on me ever since you said it Friday. I want to make sure I give you that credit for that.
No, I appreciate it because he's not what he was, but it's all about like because you're going to be drafting these guys. You're going to be drafting some rookie linebackers. Yeah, they got to at this point. Wagner would be one that I would definitely look at. I think they can get him reasonable, and he could come in and be a leader on that because this defense. I mean, let's just be honest. The Cowboys defense through the years, recent history has lacked leadership. I mean, it's been evident. Micah Parsons, great football player, but he never really was a leader. I mean, he even talked about it. I mean, he was trying to mature into a leader and this and that, but he was the best player in the team, bar none. But he just wasn't a leader. You know, Tank Lawrence, you know, he was probably the most, you know, vocal and kind of trying to be a leader or whatever. I don't know if he was or not. I'm not in the locker room or, you know, or whatever, but it just seems like they lacked that. Diggs was all about himself. You know, it just didn't really. All these guys keep to themselves. It's like what Eugene Lockhart used to talk about. We would hang out together. We would watch film together. We'd be at each other's house for a barbecue. They were in a basketball league. They would do all this stuff. The players, you know, at least on the Cowboys, I don't know if it's that way every other team because I don't really pay attention to other teams, but it just doesn't seem that way with the Cowboys. It's like they do their stuff in practice and everyone goes their own way.
But the thing is, they need leaders on all three levels of the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And we haven't had that. I don't even have had it in 2, but we needed all 3 levels of the defense. So obviously gonna hope that Jalen Thompson is that on the back end. I feel like our defensive line is probably it was our strongest point last year. So I'm looking for them to continue that this year. So I'm not really concerned about that. It's that linebacker room.
Yeah.
So I think someone like Bobby Wagner would probably be, especially if you're going to come in and draft 2 rookie linebackers, whether it's both in the first round or the first and third round or what have you. I think Bobby Wagner would actually be a really, really good pickup.
But listen,
go ahead and finish up, Greg. Now we're going to go to these linebackers in the draft. Go ahead.
All those players that y'all were talking about that weren't leaders in the past. Look at the coaching we had, with the exception of when we had Dan Quinn and we had those guys and they played together and Dan Quinn had them together. He just couldn't finish the job on defense. But you got to have a coaching staff. You got to have a coaching staff that emulates leadership. We have it now. We have a collection now. So Michael Parsons probably would have been a greater leader than he turned out to be as far as leadership if he had the right coaching staff around him, a leadership coaching staff. We didn't really have that around him. And now that you got the coaching staff we have, and you go get a Bobby Wagner, who I think would be decent for maybe 1 year, but he's the last resort. He's the last one hanging out there. So it ain't like we're going to get Bobby Wagner because, Bobby Wagner's the man. No, he's the last piece of fruit. And if we really, 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 really felt Bobby Wagner is the answer, we would have pulled the plug now since he's so cheap. That's why I say I wouldn't be surprised if there's a risky plan.
That's not how it works, though.
But
the longer he's out there, the cheaper he becomes.
That's right now. Even right now, Bobby Wagner is cheap. And
he made $9 million last year with Washington.
Nobody else is after him right now.
I'm just saying, last year he had a base salary of $3 million, had like a $5 million signing bonus and another $1 million.
That's last year, Jeff.
Right.
Bobby Wagner is still out there. Nobody's fishing for Wagner. Cowboys haven't picked him up yet, not just because they want the price to go down. Bobby Wagner would love to come to Cowboys, and they can and JJ can offer him whatever he wants to get him. I just think that the Cowboys are still looking at another risky situation that they could pull off if they can make everything line up. And if Bobby turns out to be with us, they're going to get him cheap anyway. But I think the Cowboys are looking at a risky situation to try to get a linebacker from somewhere that can blow the top off of everything everybody is speculating about. And if it wasn't, they would just go say, Bobby, today's Monday.
I don't think so. How many teams run 3-4 in the league? Not many.
Not many.
But
not many.
Listen,
right?
What did Parker say?
Parker said, wait, if he has
to run a 4-3, he'll do a 4-3.
All I'm saying is if you don't have many teams that run a 3-4 and you're looking for that green dot, how many of these teams that run 3-4 are going to be willing to trade their green dot to us and say, hey, yeah, no problem. You know how key he is on that defensive front. I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
But you're acting like the Cowboys are going to force a 3-4 no matter what. Parker already said.
I said hybrid. It's hybrid.
If he has to switch to a 4-3, he will. And if we don't get the linebacker he wants and we get a rookie and he's not comfortable, he'll go to 4-3. He'll go to 4-3 to put more pressure on the quarterback so the linebackers might not have to do as much of a job they would have to do if it was a 3-4. And then he could use, what's his name? Jalen Thompson in the nickel. Because Jalen Thompson in the nickel, he could put Jalen Thompson at the same time. He could put PJ Locke out there at the same time. And what's the cornerback we keeping?
Bland.
No, not Bland. God, what's his name?
The guy Reddick or Red, what was his name?
No, the other guy, the guy you guys like that hurt his knee but came back.
Rebel?
No,
Rebel.
What's his name? It's not Josh Butler. It's one of the other ones we already have. But they can use all three at the same time, and it'll make that up. We're using Thompson in the nickel. You got Locke as a safety, and you bring in that other cornerback.
There you go. I knew it was
bring the other cornerback in there. That'll make up for that lack of that linebacker. And then if there's a 3-4, you got that nickel guy. Or if it's a 4-3, you can still put him out there and bring him in as a nickel if you need it. I'm telling you, Parker is not stuck to the 3-4 based on what we get at linebacker. We need linebackers. But if we don't get experienced linebacker, Parker will adjust. He will adjust.
It's not about him not adjusting. It's about maximizing the defense. Part of that is he runs a hybrid 3-4, which means it can be a 3-4, 4-3. The offense doesn't know what to expect. And just because someone's got their hand down doesn't mean they won't drop back into a 3-4 coverage. What we're trying to do is maximize what he can do. And the best part about a defense is when the quarterback can't figure out what defense you're going to be in pre-snap. So for me, I'm just kind of like, I want our defense. We've all said our defense is what needs to be addressed. Let's maximize what we have available so that our defense can be as good as we all want it to be. That's it.
Yeah, whether we get a rookie linebacker or whether we get a veteran linebacker, I think we're going to be fine because the linebacker that we did get, the corner that we did get, the safety that we did get, the defensive lineman that we did get, and the players that we kept versus the ones we let go, I think we're going to be fine as far as being able to have a defense that's going to keep people on edge because we get a linebacker in the draft, whether he's a rookie or not, he doesn't have to be the green dot, he's a rookie or not, it's still going to help us based on the schemes that Parker is going to align. And I say we're going to get winners on 12. We're going to get winners on 20, period. And we get a linebacker out of the draft. Even if a linebacker comes out the third round, it's not going to upset me because third round have some dogs, and these guys will come in and show you something that we're not expecting. So, yeah, we need another linebacker. And if we get Bobby Wagner, good. 1 year, he'll be 1 year. We get Bobby Wagner, good. The leadership of the coaches, the leadership of maybe Wagner and the team and Parker's adjustment, we're going to be fine.
But I mean, there's no guarantee. I mean, and I like Parker. I love the direction. So don't, start bashing me. I love the youth. There's no guarantee this guy's going to be great. There's no guarantee this guy's going to be this great leader in this defense. I mean, you talk about Parsons and he didn't have great coaching. Well, he had Quinn. I mean, he was pretty good defense. He had Zimmer, who was a Super Bowl champion defensive, coach as well, and been around the block. I mean, the only shitty one he had, never really had because he didn't play with the Cowboys last year. They traded him. So Parsons has had those. It's not like the guys had shitty coaches this whole time. They've had coaches, and so leadership. I saw a couple of things in there. Donnell talked about. Leadership is not taught. It's ingrained in you. You're natural. That's just your makeup. And maybe Parsons just isn't that. But I think Bobby Wagner has proven to be that kind of leader. And I think they do need leadership on this team. And I think Wagner, again, what you're getting from him is more than just on the field. It's the off the field stuff. It's to be that mentor to some young guys. But let's talk about these linebackers. And you guys tell me in the chat and Jeff and Greg. So, I'm looking at the linebackers and they're coming across the ticker there. And you've got Reese and Styles, who I think we probably agree is probably not. Neither one of them is going to be there at 12. So then you're really not going to take a linebacker at 12. Let's just be honest. We're not taking a linebacker at 12. So unless they trade down, maybe gather a pick or something. If you're just talking about linebackers, your next kind of.
Are you talking about middle or outside? Because Bailey's going to be gone too, right?
Yeah, I mean Bailey and
Bailey, Reese, and Styles will all be gone.
They're going to be gone. So I'm not really. I'm looking more at the guys that are going to be the inside. Like a CJ Allen. Rodriguez,
the thumpers, the trotters, and stuff like that.
Guys are going to need to put it on somebody. So looking at that, you've got Allen and Rodriguez. Are you comfortable taking either one at 20? Do you have any reservation? I don't get caught up in the number. If they're high on Allen or Rodriguez and they're available, go get one of them, right? Or what do you say?
So caveat, you said 20.
12, we're not taking a linebacker.
Correct.
Yeah.
At 20. I may be, depending who else is there, I'd probably be comfortable taking CJ Allen. I know
trade back. I know that in there that people say trade back is an option.
It's an option.
When you trade back, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee you're going to get the guy. So
correct. So this is assuming we take the pick.
Yeah.
I would say CJ Allen over Rodriguez. I just think CJ Allen probably has a higher, his potential seems to me a little bit higher. I have more film based on tougher competition in the SEC.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that would transition better to the NFL.
And what do you guys say on, and Greg, you answer this and jump back to Greg or add to this, what you're going to say. CJ Allen, the pro day, there's some, he looked a little clunky. He didn't look, some people say he didn't look fit. I mean, he looked pretty damn fit to me. About what the hell do I know? So, I mean, Greg, do you put a lot of stock into these pro days, into this combine, or are you looking at film and you're looking at the guys, really the makeup of them? And we're not in the interview process, so I don't know the makeup of them. But what are you holding more weight on as far as if you're looking at a linebacker or any player?
Well, I put my weight on what I saw him do in college, and especially the last 2 years of college. And the combine, the only reason I really paid it, and I watched the combine this year, and it was only because Sonny Styles I'm sitting over here doing something else, and I said, damn.
Yep.
That's the only reason.
Over and over again.
The combine doesn't impress me. None of that jumping and all that. And then I do watch edge when they go around those pillars and how low they get and how fast they come out of it and how sloppy it is. That's what I pay attention to. But CJ Allen, those guys will be gone.
They won't be gone at 20.
Listen, I know we're talking linebackers because that's what we want right there. We're looking at a high price, a high valuable linebacker right there. But guys, listen, all those guys we're talking about will be gone. But there are edge rushers still going to be at 12. There are cornerbacks.
All right, we're done. We're not doing. We're done with 12.
We're just talking about middle.
Yep. We're just talking about these two linebackers.
You're saying if those two are available
at 20.
At 20.
Of 20, if they're available at 20, of course I'm gonna take one. There's no doubt I'm gonna take them. But I'm telling you, they're not. And because they're not, cornerback and edge, they're going to be plentiful. And they're in the top 20 that going to be great players. Watch.
You think CJ Allen and Rodriguez are going to be gone at 20?
I don't know about Rodriguez gone. But listen, even Rodriguez, because if we stick to nothing but linebacker, let's say Cowboys say, I don't care what we do, 20, we're taking a linebacker even as Rodriguez. I don't think so. I think the Cowboys going to be like this because I think the best player available will be somebody probably an edge or cornerbacks who are thick in that top 20 right now that Cowboys would pick over Rodriguez in the first round. If you look at the edges and the cornerbacks, they're available in the top 20. They are thick and they are good. And if we need another cornerback, we could use another edge if those linebackers are not available that we want.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be upset if we got Rodriguez at 20, but I would prefer passing on Rodriguez at 20 and getting one of these hell of a cornerbacks or edges that's going to be available in that top 20 tier, because those teams are not going to
what
move
edges,
all those guys off the field.
What edges and corners do you think are going to be available at 20?
Look, Keldrick Falk might be available. Akeem Mesidor, Cassius Howell might be available. Who else we got up here? It's another one. No, well, Ruben Bain, he'll be gone. And then you got cornerbacks. You got Cotton Hood. You got Mansour. You got Delano.
Mansour will be gone.
Delaney. Is it Delaney or Delano for LSU?
Yeah, he's gone.
You got Jared McCoy.
Jermon McCoy, he's coming off a torn ACL.
He's coming off an injury, but he'll be gone, though. I think he'd be gone.
And I think he'll be gone too. I think he'll be gone by
probably Terrell, which he's good. He's from Clemson, and he's got, we talked about he's got it in his DNA. But let's just focus on linebackers.
We'll go back to linebackers.
Let's focus on linebackers. So Jeff, we talk about linebacker. Anthony Hill is a name that comes up. You and I talked about Trotter, and you're talking about the DNA, and his dad was a badass linebacker.
Yeah,
so
he was.
That's gotta. So looking at linebackers, if you get to the point of 20, and I don't disagree with you, Greg, and Jeff probably wouldn't either. If there's an edge guy, I'd be fine taking it, because if you like the linebackers later, or I would be a trade back scenario to try and get somehow into the second round, because I think you could get Rodriguez in the second round. But if not, if let's say you don't do that, what are these other linebackers that you're looking at? What linebacker that's not the top profile, those top two, who piques your interest, Jeff?
So Anthony Hill's one. I think him coming off the outside, he's fast. And I don't know what his combine was like, but when I watched him play at Texas, he looked like he could move through the gears and get to the ball. So I like that. Obviously, Josiah Trotter, I think later in the, I don't know, definitely not in the first round.
No,
if he somehow got a second or maybe a third,
like third round, yeah.
Because again, it's in his DNA. I think he's going to be, if he's like his dad, he's going to be a thumper. He's going to be a playmaker. He's going to be a baller. And then I'm looking at people that are coming from programs that make dogs. So you'll have Deontay Lawson from Alabama, but I think right now for me, he's a little bit light. He needs to put on some pounds. I know there's been talk about us and Harold Perkins. I just wasn't big on what I saw from Perkins in last year. I think I liked what I saw from Perkins from tape from a couple years ago, but not so much what I saw last year. But if he has the potential, because he does, and he's shown it, and they feel like, hey, we can coach this guy up, he'll work great with our system. I think he's another one. He comes from a program that makes dogs that, hey, they come out and play. So I wouldn't shy away from him either.
Now, are you a fan of big school, especially, I don't know, to me, linebacker too? Like I think there is something to say about Penn State's linebacker history and LSU's and Alabama's and Miami's and these other. I think there's something to that with these bigger schools that just, they've got a knack for producing some badass.
It's because of what they've seen.
You know what I mean?
It's because of what they've seen, right? Every year they have players that are going to the NFL, but before they get there, these younger players are seeing these dogs day in, day out of practice. What they're responsible for, the effort that they give. So if I'm going to be here and I'm going to be successful, that's what I have to do. That's who I have to be. And that's just year after year after year after year, which is why, hey, bring me someone from one of these big programs. Don't bring me someone from Boise State.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that, Greg?
You're talking about Harold Perkins. Do you know that Harold Perkins is ranked 143 among linebackers? And you got so many linebackers that are ranked above Harold Perkins.
Yep.
that even some that's ranked in the 30s that are going to be dogs. That's why I said
where you're ranked doesn't make you the best.
No, it doesn't. It's not so much the ranks, but if we're talking linebacker prospects by ranks, there are linebackers that are rated far above people like Harold Perkins and Hill.
I agree.
That people do not talk about either from the school they're coming from, the network availability that their teams don't get as much on the season, but scouts see them, coaches see them, and people that are close to the NFL see them. And that's why when their names come up in the draft and they say, oh, these mock draft by these so-called media analysts, mock draft 29.8, talking about, oh, I didn't have Michael Sims even being drafted in the first round as a linebacker from so-and-so. He wasn't even on my board. That's because you paid attention too much to all the names that you hear about all the time, and you're an analyst, but you're not a scout, and you're not on the team, and you're not seeing these linebackers from these other teams. This ranking came from somewhere, and this ranking is seen by scouts and coaches, and they have input. And Harold Perkins may be a good linebacker, but there are other linebackers rated, so far above him that have been tabulated by scouts.
The question was my preference.
Yes.
I'm not saying what the Cowboys, this is just my preference.
I understand that, Jeff, but I'm saying the linebackers there are a lot of linebackers out there that are dogs that nobody's talking about. And we have an opportunity at 12 or 20 to get one that nobody is looking at in the first round. And don't be surprised if by the 32nd pick, if some of these other teams didn't get some of these linebackers that we're talking about, that nobody's talking about, because they are dogs, they are available, and they will be good. So I say the 12th and 20th pick, we're going to get winners. And if we don't get at the 12th, we don't get one of these high-priced names that we see everybody's talking about. You got cornerbacks and edges available. You even got a safety out there available that we can get if we want to. And at 20th, we can do whatever we want with it. But there are plenty linebackers available. And some of these linebackers that won't even go in the second round that are highly valued, we can get one in the third round. So we're going to.
I don't think any of us disagree with that. But what I would say is, let me ask you guys this question, and this is just me. And again, I sit on a couch. I'm not a scouter. I want linebackers from big schools. I don't want a guy from, I know you're saying Boise, but then you see Cincinnati's, or you see these. Like the Cowboys' problem to me is mentality. And and maybe I'm naive, maybe I don't understand it, but I think a linebacker from Georgia, Alabama, Miami, Ohio State, the Penn State, these bigger school, LSU, there's a mentality that comes with it. And I think the Cowboys, lack that. Now you see Overshown, Texas would be another school. Overshown has that. He has that it factor. Now he's injured and this and that, but he definitely has that mentality. And I think the Cowboys, they need to get some more of that mentality and some of that dog from these big schools they understand what it's like to compete at the highest level. They understand what it's like to compete in the SEC or in the college football playoffs. I want guys that have the skins on the wall. And am I wrong in thinking that way, Jeff? And
nah, that's 100 in my position. That's 100% correct. I need people who are battle tested, right? There's something that comes along with being a Cowboy, right? And you get a lot of niceties, you get a lot of benefits. Things become soft. You don't necessarily have to work as hard to get these perks.
Mm-hmm.
I need somebody who's already been drilled in for the past 3 or 4 years that it don't matter what you're giving me. You're not going to give me anything. I'm going to go take it. You only get that from big school and big school mentality, which in my opinion, that's what we need. That's what's missing from a lot of our Cowboys team, especially on the defensive side. So especially we talk about the need for linebackers and impactful linebackers. For me, I'm going to a big school. I'm going to a big school where the standards are set high, the competition is set high. I am more comfortable with how they will transition into the pros.
And that's why, Greg, want to get your opinion, but that's why I think, to your point, Jeff, and I feel the same way, is you take like a Perkins or you take like a Hill that, yeah, all right, they're not rated at the highest list, and they got some other guys from TCU and Indiana or whatever ahead of them, but they bring something, I think, that you can't, that's ingrained, and that's not, not maybe not on the 40 times or anything like that. And that's where I don't know. That's where I look at those two guys, and yeah, they could, maybe I saw someone in the chat with Perkins at LSU, they had a whole bunch of coaching issues. They had a lot of issues there. So was he not as good on, the play and LSU season wasn't that good because more of that and really not him? You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. Well, and you got like people like Deontay Lawson and he from Alabama, and Bryce Boucher from Oregon State. And the one thing about the big schools, and you're absolutely right about, there's no doubt. We've seen the history. We've seen it's based on the programs and the coaches that go in there, and the style of coaching, the style of play, the pro schemes, all of that these big schools successful. That's why all these coaches want to go to these big schools, because they get the notoriety, they get the money, plus the program is already up on this level compared to all these other teams on this level. So these guys are prepared for the NFL because that's the kind of coaching they have. But when they come to the Dallas Cowboys, great. However, you need that coaching staff to continue to commensurate that type of leadership they left at that big school with the Dallas Cowboys, because the Dallas Cowboys have a tendency, you get in there and they get comfortable. Clowney said it best. And Clowney had been in the NFL for a long time, never been in the Cowboys organization. I assume he knew what it was like. His first interview, he did that video, says, these guys got it great. They are spoiled. And all that did to me, it dropped my gut, because what it told me was what I already suspected, that they got to Club Med, and all of a sudden they're in Club Med, they just happy to wear the star. And Bradshaw said it years ago, and he was right on the NFL, on Fox NFL. I'll never forget. He said, the problem with the Cowboys is the players go to Dallas and they just happy to wear the star, and that's it. So with this new coaching staff, Dan Quinn had the nucleus of the type of coaching staff that can have the leadership, but they were old. Zimmer was old. The coaches that he had were old, and they were a conglomeration of older coaches from old style. And Zimmer was not really a leader. He was a dictator. So now you got this young, vibrant coaching staff, successful where they've been, collected, and Jerry and them thought out the box to get them. So now when these big school players come to Dallas with that mentality, the mentality is already driven in these coaches that we have now, and they're young, and they're forward thinking, not old school thinking, and their plays are exotic. It would benefit anybody, whether it's a big school or a mediocre school, that comes out and he's a dog. It will benefit him more now with this coaching staff we have to get into that leadership role than it would if he was under the Dan Quinn, Zimmerman, and all of those, and especially Eberflus. So I'm not saying, get a small town school, a linebacker, because he'll be great. No, I'm saying linebackers are plentiful out there, but people are only talking about these three. And if you look at it, there's really only about three that come out of everybody's mouth when they're talking. They're not looking at the long roll of them. So if we get somebody, I'm sure if we get a linebacker in the first round who nobody looked at it coming up in the first round because of scouts, because of what they looked at, because of who these people are, and the leadership that we got with the coaches, and these coaches get in the room with Jerry Jones and them, and they say, look, this guy right here is what we need. We're gonna come out with a winner. Of course, I'd love to have Arvell Reese. I would take, and Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese are off the chain. But if I had my choice, I'd take Arvell Reese first. I love that dog in him.
Let me ask you guys this, and Mike. Let me ask you this, and because I just was scrolling through and I looked at someone's mock draft. If at pick 12 we get Caleb Downs, okay,
yeah,
because you've said it, safety sometimes is undervalued, and regardless if it's the best talent, will sometimes fall out of the top 10.
Yeah.
So we get Caleb Downs with pick 12. We get Avion Terrell from Clemson at pick 20. At pick is 92.
92, yeah.
Right? It literally has us getting a center, Jake Slaughter from Florida. And I'm like, if that took place, how would you feel? Because there's a part of me is like, enough of the offensive line, we have all the needs on the defensive side, and you haven't addressed the linebacker yet. And even in the fourth round, they got us picking a corner from Will Lee from Texas A&M. So if that was to occur, right, you get safety, which no one's going to complain about us getting Caleb Downs.
No.
You get 2 corners and a center, but we're sitting there in the 4th round or past the 4th round, and we haven't drafted a linebacker yet. How are you feeling?
No, I would feel the same as I think a few years ago where we kept saying running back, and they didn't draft a running back, and that was the most glaring need on our offense, and they didn't take not a one. I would feel the same. I think unless they went out obviously and did something and got linebackers that we, before the draft, but that's what worries me. And I don't think you have to draft a linebacker in the first round. I'm not saying they have to. So I would not reach. If you can get Caleb Downs, if he falls to you all day long and you get a cornerback, there's no argument. It's just like if they were to get, the dream scenario people were talking about early on is if you got Downs and CJ Allen in the first round, I mean, that's a home run. But I would think cornerback, because cornerback's a problem too. Let's, make no mistake about it. It's an issue. But if they go through this draft, I'd have to see it center. If Hill's there, if there's a linebacker there, Trotter's there, if there's a linebacker there that they passed up on, I would be pretty disappointed that they'd go out and get a center when they pretty much, I think they're locked in at center, and I believe Bass went ahead and re-signed, which he's kind of like that swing guy that could be a center if they had to as a backup. I would be a little disappointed that they didn't address that linebacker position by the 3rd round.
Yeah, I'm listen, and maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm gonna stick with it. I've been this way my whole life. I don't listen to none of these pundits out there where they lining up who we gonna pick. I don't pay that. I don't give it even 10 seconds.
Well, hopefully you give 10 seconds of thought on the Cowboys Cave mock drafts, because we do those. We enjoy it.
That's ours. But these guys have to do this for entertainment, to break to fill in that space between the draft, and they do it like 50 times. Mock draft 17.7. But the Cowboys aren't going to pick a center in 3rd. If anything, the Cowboys are going to say in the first round, they're going to say cornerback, safeties, if those linebackers aren't available, cornerback, safety, cornerback, edge, safety, cornerback, edge in that first round. Third round, linebacker. If a linebacker isn't available and we didn't get a cornerback in the first round, then you get a cornerback in the 3rd round. Center, if we get a center, it's 7th round, last pick, and we ain't got nothing else better to do. But
I'm saying is last year going into the draft, and everyone at work's in there, who are the Cowboys going to take? I said, knowing the Cowboys are going to pick an offensive lineman. It's the last thing that we need, but that's probably what we're going to do. And sure enough, my phone blew up as soon as we did. So
and thankfully they did. Hell of a line.
No, I'm not. I'm not complaining. No, I'm just saying the Cowboys do things a little bit different than conventional wisdom says.
And that's the key. This year, they're doing something even different than what they've normally been doing.
But I think what it showed, though, Greg, is they probably went best player available. I mean, and Booker was probably they stayed disciplined to their board. And I think when you do that, I mean, that's going to happen. And I don't want them to reach. Like, I know you're saying it, but I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't want them to reach for a linebacker that is a late 1 or 2 with the 12th pick. I mean, trade down, do whatever you want to do if that's where it ends up. But I don't want them if my man from the U is there at a tackle and he falls to 12 and he is the highest rated tackle. I mean, could I hate them for drafting him?
Yes.
mean, it'd be hard to hate him for draft. I mean, it would be, because you're talking about getting a premier tackle that falls to you at 12 when your tackles are okay, but they're not great. I mean, you could argue that you could use, a 6'6", 315-pound, tackle from the U, but I'm just hopeful that the Cowboys, we're going to address some of these, linebacker being the one in free agency. I would have felt a lot better going in.
Yeah, and see, Mike, you'd be pissed off if they take a tackle and he wasn't from Miami at 12.
Well, of course,
and I because that's home. That's our hurricane. So I can understand that. This year, the Cowboys Jerry has been taking advantage of things that he hasn't done in the previous years up to now. So that's why I really feel it's going to be totally different than what we've done in the past. Could he shock us? Of course, because until training camp comes, we still holding out that thought that Jerry's going to come up with something to sabotage us. But
I can't believe that Greg is just like on the Jerry train.
No, I'm not.
Hey, I've been saying it. I've been saying it.
I said training camp. I said by training camp, we'll know. Don't push that button just too soon.
See, my hand is ready. My hand is ready, Greg.
Because I'm still waiting for him to do something to sabotage it. But so far, based on what he said in season about management, so far he has done things different. So we got to wait a while. But that 12th pick is going to be money, because if it's not that linebacker that we want, if it's not Caleb Downs, those guys, there are other cornerback, safeties, and edges in that first round. So the 12th round is going to be money. The 20th round, I think, is going to be a real good pick, because I think we're going to have opportunity to maneuver, think about who's on the board, think about who's available, and get some money out of that 20th pick if we use both of them. Because you can't tell me, out of all the names that we're talking about and all the people out there, that there aren't 20 big-time players in the first round. They are. There's going to be one available at 12. There's going to be one available at 20. So
and I think too, Greg, is with that 20 pick, and we've seen it in years past, you may get a team that's desperate for somebody. They're going to where you can maybe turn that 20th into some extra picks. I remember Brady Quinn. I mean, we traded we got a first round, pick and a bunch of other stuff when they wanted a quarterback. So you look at the quarterback position, and this isn't the best quarterback draft, but the name that pops up is the kid from Alabama, Ty Simpson. If someone falls in love with him and they're like, we want him, there may be a team that reaches up and they will give you a pretty, a premium trade for a quarterback is typically what you can get. You never know.
Yeah, you're right. And that's why I said that 20th, if we use the 20th, we're going to get a money pick anyway. If we don't, then that means we get extra picks. And I guarantee you, if we give up that 20th, the picks that we want are going to be in the second round. It's going to be in the second round, not take some, one in the second round minimum. But Jerry's going to give up that 20th, say, you're going to give me a second round pick out of this if I give up this 20th, because this is too valuable.
I think what we end up with 12 is really going to be dictated, and I told Mike this on Friday, between what the Giants do and what Washington does. I'm not sure that the Giants are actually going to pick an offensive.
You don't think they're going to go offense?
I don't think. I'm not sure.
Quarterback got annihilated.
I could absolutely see them picking a tackle to protect quarterback. But I can also see them picking up a defensive piece. I don't know. They may have a plan to, hey, we're going to go ahead and let's pick up this let's pick up Caleb Downs. And then let's see if we can trade back up and get a tackle, because there's probably 3 to 5 tackles that are right thereabouts. I've seen the tackle from Miami be top. I've seen some other tackles, one from Utah, I think one from
Georgia.
So you can trade later into the first round and get one of these tackles that are there. So I could see them doing something like that. But if they go offense, then Washington's going to be left with a decision between like Caleb or Sonny Styles. That potentially could lead to one of them dropping to us. That's why I think a lot of who comes to us is going to be dictated by what the Giants do and what Washington.
And Washington and the Giants, they'd be damned if they gonna let Arvell or Sonny or Caleb fall to us. Because they know our division, and they're like, I'll be damned if I'm going to let one of these players go so Dallas can pick them up and something like that. So, no, even if they don't need one of those players, they'll pick them up as best player available, make damn sure that we don't get them. Because the Giants, because there's like about 3 or 4 offensive tackles that have been talked about the first round. Maunoa, Spencer Farrow,
and Freeland,
Vega Lone, Caden Proctor. Those are the ones that everybody's talking about in that first round, possibly, if one of those will go. But I don't see the Giants or the Commanders, especially the Commanders, picking after the Giants, knowing that it's coming close to the Cowboys and possibility we can get one of those big stars. I don't see them letting one of those defensive players go, taking the chance that it might fall to us or Jerry makes some kind of decision and move up some kind of way. I don't know how.
Well, see, I don't think the Giants are really thinking about us like that. I think the Giants are figuring out how they build their team.
Right. I mean, the Eagles traded with us, and we end up getting part. I mean, they do what they do. Hey, appreciate. Shout out to Hampton, just sub. So definitely appreciate it from the Cowboys Huddle podcast. Check you guys out too. But definitely appreciate the love. So here it is, Jeff. So I pulled up the tweet at this point, and this is from Landon Holyfield, who does great content on Twitter. So he's got Vegas locked in to take a quarterback.
Yep.
Tennessee locked in to take the running back. And then you've got the Giants looking at wide receiver, offensive lineman, Cleveland offensive line, New Orleans wide receiver, Miami offensive lineman. If this manifests, then one of the 6 defensive players are guaranteed to be on the board. Styles, Reese, Downs, Bain, Delaney, and Bailey, because there's 6 there. His thought is we're going to get one of those, which I wouldn't disagree with. I think the cornerback is going to be there personally. I think Styles, Reese,
and I don't want McCoy.
One of them would be there. Bain,
I hope Downs. I don't want McCoy because he's coming off the ACL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what I don't want that to be sitting there for us at 12.
Yeah. And a quick shout out to
Gotham guy.
Yeah. Go my guy. What's how do you say
Gotham
that?
Guy. Gotham guy.
All right. Oh yeah, there's a Batman. Gotham guy. I'm trying to read it in 3s. I probably shouldn't do that. Team trading for us for the 20 picks plausible because Pittsburgh is behind us. They would nab Simpson if he falls to them at 21. Excellent point, because Pittsburgh is going to need a quarterback. And you get teams that get desperate for quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are always overvalued in the draft.
It's the Jets. I'm telling you, the Jets at 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Caleb Downs, what's the team? The Dolphins. I think the Dolphins will wind up getting Caleb Downs and not Jarrett McCoy.
I think the Dolphins got to get off. They got to get a wide receiver.
Yeah, but like I said, when you got these best available players, remember now, all these people, what they need and what they pick are 2 different things. Every team looks at what they need, and then they also look at the need that they want. It may not be there. They'll go for BPA. And
but I think
there's going to be some BPAs in that first round based on what other teams really wanted and didn't get. And their BPA is going to be one of these players.
Yeah, I'd be concerned if I was the Dolphins. You just brought in a new coaching staff, brought in a new quarterback, and your top 2 receivers from last year are gone.
And Jalen Tolbert is your number 1.
Tolbert is going to be your 1 or 2.
Well, I mean, Jalen Tolbert's not bad now because he, like I told you, Mike, the year before last, I think it was, he reminds me of Cedric Wilson. I think we got rid of Cedric Wilson too soon. Cedric Wilson is a clutch. He just wasn't utilized that much. And Jalen Tolbert, he's been around a while, but Jalen Tolbert was money. Jalen Tolbert can be counted on. So Miami has decided to clean house and just start over. So don't think they're gonna make grand prize picks and they're gonna line this for the season.
You just brought Malik Willis in to be the quarterback. You got to give him someone to throw the ball to.
And they will. But I don't think that Miami necessarily will go out there and say, well, let me get the top wide receiver right away, unless that top wide receiver falls that far. Miami is so far in flux right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami picks somebody and we look at them like this, because Miami has a lot to pick.
Well, they have a lot of kids.
They got like 12 picks, don't they?
Yeah, Cornerstone is going to be offensive line is a critical need or receiver.
Yes, because they need.
They're basically, they're taking their cap hit and they're taking their medicine this year. And if they suck, quarterback draft is pretty damn nice to give Malik Willis. He's got a 2-year deal. If he doesn't prove to be worthy, they're going to go draft a quarterback in the draft next year because they're probably going to have a top 2 or top 3 pick easily. Maybe the top pick. They're probably rated as the worst team in the NFL at this point. Good. So, the Dolphins are not building for today, right? They're going to build for the future, and linemen and receiver are going to be 2 things that they're going to have to try and figure out. But yeah, because I think they got this. But anyway,
they got to be able to block for Malik. If they don't block for Malik, they're wasting those 2 years. So they got to get him the protection first. And then
that's why they're going to take an offensive player. That's what we said.
The thing is, I wouldn't, if they took a tackle, okay. The only reason why I'm throwing any doubt into that is because they let Jalen Waddle go.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. So if you have that scenario, the Cowboys at 12 are gonna get money players. So I have no worries about that. And I think at 20, it's going to be interesting depending on who is there. If they're going to have to make a tough choice, or could a team want to trade in either back into the first round or move up to jump ahead of someone to get a player that they so desire. Whenever you do that, that leads to you getting a premium, trade. You get more value than anything else. So, and I think the draft is very deep with good players. I mean, doesn't have all the superstars so deep as the others, but the Cowboys don't need superstars. They need some dog players on defense, especially linebackers. So, to the point of you, Jeff and Greg, I think they can definitely do it. Now, hopefully they will.
I think if 12 comes along and all the players that we want are gone, I can see a team trying to trade up to us depending on the tackles that are taken. So say Miami does take a tackle and we assume that the Giants take a tackle. There may be a team that's like, hey, we need to trade back, or we need to trade up with Dallas because we're worried about the Rams taking a tackle. We're worried about the Ravens taking a tackle. And that list, like I said, it's 3 to 5. If they really like someone, they can come back up to us and say, hey, we need to jump in front of them and we'll have to give up a premium. And our 12th pick will only drop back a little bit. Plus we'll get more draft capital. So I can see that happening.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because at the 12th pick, I'm going to say it now, and I've been hitting at it all this whole time. These players aren't available in linebacker we want. It's going to be a cornerback we pick at 12. Cornerback, solid. I put it in the books. Now, the other thing is, if somebody, because by the time you get to 10 and 11, somebody's still going to be available. A couple of them still going to be available that these folks really want, that are behind us. And I can see, and it's going to blow a lot of Cowboys fans' mind. They're going to get pissed as hell. But I can see them taking the 12th pick, like you said, and letting this other team move up, and we get another pick in the first round because those players we want aren't available, but we get another pick in the second round.
Yep.
Something like that. I can see that happening. And I know if they do it, these folks in Cowboy land are going to lose their damn mind when we give up a 12. But there's a reason for doing that. There's a reason for doing that. If we keep 12, it'll be a cornerback, because that's who's going to be available. And there's several available.
But see, I don't want McCoy. Like, I think he's the one who's going to be
there. McCoy. I'm not saying necessarily McCoy. I'm just saying a cornerback, and there'll be some cornerbacks available, because I don't think they're going to be all sucked up by 12.
I think they can end up getting the LSU. I think they can get the top cornerback at 12 if things fall the way they do. Question here with G is, would you drop down to the 25th to get a second rounder from the 12th? I would not.
Nope.
And my opinion is, unless it's a king's ransom, I would not drop too far from 12, because I think the Cowboys need a superstar on defense with a 5-year deal that's under a rookie contract. I think the money that they've put into their offense, as long as they're keeping Pickens long-term and whatever, they have got to hit on defensive guys that are on rookie deals that are 4 or 5 year contracts. And I just think to be at 12, you don't get there that often. I know they were there last year. Hopefully that's not a trend, but I think they've got to get, they can't pass up the opportunity to get a top blue chip prospect. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I agree. If we give up 12, I wouldn't want to drop any further back than maybe 16, 17.
Yeah.
I wouldn't not go all the way back to 20. Like
Yeah.
from 12 to go to 25, I want a Herschel Walker deal then. Like I want your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Right. Yeah.
12, yeah. But don't be surprised if the Dolphins, because they're starting all over, they need this, they need that. Don't be surprised if the Dolphins let somebody take their pick so they can get a bunch more picks to try to fill some gaps and just, like you said, start from year one. And
they could.
I can see the Dolphins. I
got like 12 picks though already. They want more picks.
No, I can see the Dolphins. But I can see the Dolphins giving up a king's ransom.
The Dolphins could do something interesting is trade for future, not this year, but trade down and try and get 2027 picks. You know what I mean?
Dolphins got 11 picks.
Yeah. They could be looking at something in the next year because they're on a 2 to 3 year kind of rebuild, right? We don't like to use rebuild a lot in football because I don't think it's really the case anymore. But I think the Dolphins are definitely in a rebuild mode.
Yeah.
And I think they're eyeing a quarterback next year if Malik Willis doesn't pan out. Want to shift gears. I mean, we beat this thing down. I just thought it was interesting. I didn't watch a lot of it. I watched highlights, but I'd love to get your guys' opinion on flag football, the NFL. You had the tournament. They went against Team USA, which are just some guys, and those dudes absolutely annihilated the NFL players. And it just goes to show flag is not tackle football. It's not the NFL. There is definitely a difference in that football. A, did you guys watch it? B, do you think the NFL players should be allowed in the Olympics, or should this go to these guys that this is what they do? I don't think it's their livelihood, but this is their craft. What did you think about it? We'll start with you, Jeff, finish Greg in the flag football, which you saw from, and Jalen Hurts still throws pick sixes, whether it be flag or I mean,
I was waiting for that one. I think I saw highlights of it. Obviously, people that play flag football understand there's idiosyncrasies that make it different than regular football. So I wasn't surprised that the pros lost. I don't think the NFL players should get into it and be sent to the Olympics for it. Think about when there was a running back for New England back in the day,
Robert Edwards.
When he was playing the flag or the beach and tore his knee up, was never the same afterward.
Yeah,
I think that's too much of a risk for the players because that's what it is. I mean, it is a lot of cutting. It's a lot of movement. You're just adding wear and tear to players' bodies that already have a bunch of wear and tear on it. And there's certain things, just the art of grabbing flags is different.
It is different.
So when that's what you do, you're going to be better than NFL players and what have you. So I sit this one out.
Yeah, see, I got some experience in that because even in the Air Force, we played flag football a lot and we won 6 years in a row championship.
All right, throw that in there. Go ahead.
But after our 6th year, what I noticed that changed in the game was the teams that were playing after that. 2 things they realized, well, actually 3 things they realized that made the game different and made them better. Number 1, speed.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to have some speed. Number 2, height. I'm talking about a height where you could just throw the ball and the receiver can just jump. And number 3, which was the most valuable trait that changed the whole prospect of flag football when we were playing, was those guys who are available with the speed to be able to run right at you and do the little squat walk.
Change direction.
And when we start playing teams after that, who start to specialize these little techniques. Nobody could touch them. I'll never forget that last championship game we played. To this day, it bugs me. I played corner. They had two guys that looked like Wembanyama. And these guys had speed. The quarterback, all he did all day was just threw up. And then their slot guy and the third receiver, they specialize in, because they have speed, they specialize in doing nothing but running at you, and somehow without breaking their ankles and their knees, at the same speed, they could still squat and go through us, where we're so used to grabbing the flags at the waist. The game has changed dramatically since then. And all these teams playing flag football now, the average people who played flag football in the past cannot compete, because the speed, the height, and the ability of somebody with speed to be able to squat and move is what changed the dynamics of this game. And obviously some of the schemes, because they don't play like, let's line this up, do this. It could be little stupid stuff like this right here, that right there. And the girls do the same thing.
Oh, girls are phenomenal to watch.
The same thing. So the NFL players, if any NFL player gets in that league to play in the Olympics, if they got the speed and they can squat like that without tearing ACLs, MCLs, their ankles, and their knees going bad, they'll be very rare making the team. The other ones I can see where they'll probably have more players in it would be the ones in wide receiver that are tall. No. Yeah. I can see that because they're tall. They're not going to be concerned about squatting. But the speed killers in the Olympics are going to be the ones that can run that ball with speed, like Duche did, and squat the way they do. That's going to make the difference.
Flag football usually always comes down to pulling flags, right? Yeah. And there's an art to it. And you see people that when they play for real, like they're almost pulling flags, not even looking, because they're used to the movements that players make. When you're not used to it, and people are doing that little crab walk, and people are, hey, I'm twisting at an angle just so you can't. When you're reaching at my waist and I turn, and so instead you hit my navel instead of getting my flag on my side. You're just not used to that, and especially at that speed.
Yes.
That's a skill.
And I think the thing is, like, you saw the difference. Like the Team USA guys, they were out there to win. Like it was serious for them. Where the NFL guys, how serious is that for them? And I just think it's a bad look. And the worst thing you'd ever want to see is us send these NFL guys to the Olympics and not even medal. I mean, that would be just a bad look. I think you'd go with the guys that they do it every day and they compete at a high level. And it was impressive. I mean, the juke moves that one of the dudes was making on Team USA was making the NFL guys look like fools. I mean, they couldn't.
It's Peter Warrick at Florida State all over again.
Yeah. And you know what scared me watching it? It was fun watching it, but what really scared me the whole time, and none of these players were from my team, it scared me that, oh my goodness, this guy pulls an ACL, MCL.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these are $30+ million players.
Devontae went up for that pass, and him and that guy collided. I was like, man, if one of these guys get injured in that, that's their career. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I would do that if I was those pro. I wouldn't even go to the Olympics to do that, because that's your career. And what they have to do in order to play that game that way, if they adapt to some of the few NFL players that make it, if they adapt to the way the flag football players play, they are going to be really susceptible to injury. And that'll be bad. That'll be real bad.
I mean, how about like Tom Brady? Was he 48? I mean, still was slinging it and accuracy, and he was the best quarterback on, that was on the field for them. Maybe the Team USA should just get him to be the quarterback or something. I don't know, man, because he is just pretty damn amazing that he's still at that level, competing and at that high level. I don't know.
And he did that hip. Remember that hip move, and then threw the touchdown. And then he got Gronk too until Gronk pulled.
Yeah, Gronk pulled a hamstring.
But Brady, like you said, Brady would be a good quarterback in there because of how quick he gets the ball out and how demanding he is about you be where you got to be.
Yeah, no, it was cool. So anyway, guys, it is Sunday. The Canes are getting ready to get started in about a half hour, so we'll grab some lunch, get ready to watch it. I might be going to the games tonight. So I'll be rooting for Texas Tech. I think Florida is the late game, so might be doing that as well. But definitely appreciate it. It was over 1,000 you guys hanging out in the cave, in and out. So definitely appreciate the love. And if you are not a subscriber, hit that subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the like button. You can always be part of the Cowboys Cave family. We do have our mock drafts. I know Greg doesn't listen to the mock drafts, but hopefully you guys do. As we do our mock draft, we got our mock draft. I believe Kelly's dropping one today. I'm going to do the 2.0 one for me as well, post free agency. So we'll be doing a lot of that. Definitely our live shows we enjoyed. So appreciate everybody who hung out in the cave. Jeff, any final thoughts on a great Sunday? Beautiful weather.
Hey, everyone enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe out there.
All right. Greg, last words?
Everybody who doesn't live in Florida like we do, just and spring hasn't come yet, just hang in there. It'll be there. But in the meantime, I'll be out here on the beach enjoying it for you.
All right. And last thing, we are doing our annual Cowboys Cave live mock draft. So what that'll be is we'll all be on the show, and we're going to have the listeners coming in, and you guys are going to come in and do the picks. So we're going to pick 7 people or whatever we end up getting. And so you got the opportunity because you laugh at us on our picks. So now we get a chance to hopefully laugh at you, or maybe you make the picks and you know, maybe you need to be a GM. So definitely appreciate it. You guys enjoy your Sunday. Go Canes. Hopefully you guys enjoy March Madness. Nothing better. No better tournament than March Madness in my eyes. But I appreciate it. You guys take care. Enjoy the Sunday.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.